college football news. Remember the bell notification, subscribe to the channel, share it far and wide, and like it down below and comment as we preview the Big Ten championship game this Saturday night at 8 o'clock as the Fighting Wolverines that are hoisting the coveted Paul Bunyan Trophy there look to go back-to-back seasons as undisputed Big Ten champions as the Fighting Jim Harbaughs and Hopping Wolverines look to continue the momentum on their way to a national championship as they match up against a first-time attendant into the college football playoff behind Aiden O'Connell, the senior quarterback. The Purdue Boilermakers look to win their first Big Ten championship in a very long time. One of the first things we're going to look at as we break down some film with the Purdue Boilermakers is they have a very good passing game, but a subpar offensive line and a real lackluster running game as they have a walk-on redshirt freshman as a primary running back for them. And I don't believe, and that's going to be, to me, a huge problem because Aiden O'Connell has a very big arm, has a very accurate arm, but he is not the kind of quarterback that likes to move out of the pocket down the field and run. And when he gets pressure in his face, the story on Aiden O'Connell is get pressure up the middle on him, move him out of the pocket, make him feel pressure, and he throws untimely, costly interceptions and fumbles as he gets pressure in his face, as they don't have that dynamite running game to kind of balance their throwing attack that they've had for many years down there at Purdue. But with a redshirt, walk-on, freshman running back as their lead back going into the game, that's going to be very troublesome for the Fighting Boilermakers. College football news continuing along here, breaking down some stats as a first-time attendant into the Big Ten championship game at 8 p.m. Saturday night in Indianapolis, the Purdue Boilermakers. Aiden O'Connell, like we've been telling you, is a very accurate passer with 63.7% completions, 22 TDs, totaling 11 interceptions, 284 yards per game. J.J. McCarthy, 65.3% completions, an astounding 17 TDs to 2 interceptions. Running back-wise, Mockenby, 77.2 yards per game on 15 attempts and 8 TDs. Blake Corum, 121.9 yards, the Heisman Trophy candidate, 20.6 yards an attempt. 20.6 attempts per game and 18 TDs, but he probably won't play. I'm going to rule him out. He is not playing this Saturday. And taking a look at the statistical numbers going into the game, Michigan 39.8 points per game, Purdue 28.6 points per game, 118th and 11th respectively. Points against per game, a huge difference, 12.67, fourth in the nation for Michigan, and 23.08 and 86th in the league. For the Purdue Boilermakers, the first-time attendant into the Big Ten championship game. Yards per game, 459.1, 36th in the nation for Michigan and the Fighting Jim Harbaughs, and 406.5 for the Purdue Boilermakers and the hopping along, driving around train they have in the stadium. Pass yards per game, 214.6, 174th, not very good, but effective. Purdue, 280.7, 39th in the league for the driving train Boilermakers. Very not too bad or too shabby. Yards per game, rush yards per game, that is 244.5, 13 in the nation for the Fighting Jim Harbaughs, and 125.8, 200th in the nation. And I think that's going to be the big difference in the game right there. One of the big differences is going to be that offensive line for Michigan going up against that subpar defensive line for Purdue, and the run game, which is going to be ball control for the Fighting Jim Harbaughs. And this is something the Purdue Boilermakers have trouble with in this game, is going to be getting Michigan and the Fighting Harbaughs and Wolverines off the field on third downs, as Michigan is very good on third downs this year via on the ground and through the air or by the quarterback running the ball. And I think it's going to be a very long day for the Purdue Boilermakers. I think they're going to have their hands full and tied all afternoon. They may keep it close early, but I'm thinking the old Fighting Wolverines and Hopping Jim Harbaughs, coming off that big-time victory in Columbus, are going to shape their way in for a 47-17 win and cap off their second straight Big Ten championship victory in Indianapolis Saturday night at 8 p.m. with all the nation and the whole nation watching them as they look and prepare and get ready to re-honor the show, to re-honor the college football playoff in hopes for that elusive national championship that the University of Michigan hasn't gotten since 1997. and haven't had an outright undisputed national championship, I believe, since 1948, which is 65 years ago, 75 years ago almost, for the University of Michigan and the Fighting Jim Harbaughs. And that's the mission they're on. That's the game plan they're going to take. They're physical. They're bigger. They're more athletic and faster than they were last year. And I think the Big Ten this season, with these Fighting Wolverines coached by the man, Jim Harbaugh, at the helm, driving that train, who's got it better than us? Nobody, right? That man driving that train, going into the playoff with the experience from the young players coming back from last year. I think this team wins against TCU, and I think they play for all the marbles in early January against Georgia. And I think this year, this team at this time is more prepared, better skilled, with a playmaker at quarterback that can change the game. And not only will Michigan win the Big Ten championship game Saturday night as predicted in the preseason prediction by College Football News, but they're going to go on to win the 2022 national championship game and bring that coveted, beautiful trophy back to Ann Arbor to its rightful place, and bring the first national championship for the Big Ten since the old Urban Meyer in the Ohio State University. It's going to be a great game Saturday night. It's going to be a great day for the University of Michigan, as well as the Fighting Purdue Boilermakers and the driving of the train. But that train comes off the track Saturday night for the Purdue Boilermakers, and it's going to be continuing to roll and march down towards that elusive national championship for the University of Michigan. For all my beautiful audience members out there, I say this with peace and love. As of today, we can accept no more losses from Michigan, as they're going to win that national championship. At least we can all hope that that is the case. Peace and love to my beautiful audience.
This is all about you guys. It's all about you players. This is all about you players and you great coaches. All about you guys. Take all the credit. Take all the credit. Take the deep, long.
Today's conversation with Jim Harbaugh is brought to you by Meyer.
That's just a